People that don't tip at restaurants are fucking assholes. I don't care what spiel you give me about, the restaurants should pay them more. Bro, they're not gonna pay them more just because you don't tip someone.
Tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. I've never tipped before. Let me word this correctly. Where I come from, they don't ask for tips. So it's honestly ridiculous when I see videos like this floating around. Check this out.
Why do you guys go to restaurants and not tip? I got a table the other day, $50, zero. I'm trying to cover up the fucking signature. Young couple, looked like they had money. I know I shouldn't judge, but based off of the brands that they were wearing, zero? Zero? Did I do something wrong? I was like, what? Like, I was so confused, but that bitch says zero, and they didn't leave anything on the table. I literally went back and checked twice if they left something on the table. Why do you go to restaurants and not tip? I don't get it. I get in other countries, they don't tip, but this is America. It is what it is.
Tipping in the United States is out of control. I'm in Miami right now and I got this pumpkin spice latte from a place in Brickell, and there was a mandatory service charge on my bill. I didn't even get the option to tip. I didn't get asked if I wanted to tip. I had to tip as a part of my order. Like, the woman flipped the screen around to me, and instead of clicking what percentage you want, it just said service charge. And don't get me wrong, I'll be happy to tip on a great 3-course meal with good service, but for a cup of coffee, I typically don't tip. I don't know if this is just a Miami thing, but this is getting out of control. When I was in Italy over the summer, I had a 3-course meal, the best pizza, the best pasta, the best wine I've ever had. And when I went to pay the bill, the server brought the check to me, and I just signed it, and there was no line to tip. I was honestly confused because it was great service. I was happy to tip, so I go, hey man, how do I tip you? You did great. He goes, oh, we don't do tips here. We're in Italy. So you go from Italy, where you can have the best service of your life and there's no tip, to Miami, where they pour you a cup of coffee and you are forced to tip or else you can't get your coffee. We're getting to a point now in America where people are going to ask for tips for grabbing you a water, for getting you a napkin, for holding the door for you. Like, aren't tips supposed to reward good service, not just be a requirement for ordering a coffee at a coffee shop? Like, what?
And that's actually a totally real concern. Are you supposed to tip when you just ordered coffee? Like this woman over here. Check this out.
The tipping culture in America is out of control. What do you mean I've just got a bottle of water out the fridge myself, gone up to the till, and they've asked me if I want to tip them? What did they do? I got the water myself.
So they are even trying to make you tip when you do self-service. Or this lady who is checking herself out, but they still want her to tip. What is it with the tip?
I am literally checking myself out for my chicken at this machine, and it's asking me if I'd like to tip.
So you see, I had to do some research why people are so obsessed with tipping in America, and this is what I had found. So according to these TikTok videos, waiters and the people who service these restaurants make around $2 to $3 an hour, and most people don't know this.
How does Texas Roadhouse pay you?
They pay us $2.13 an hour.
Okay, and then they'll match to minimum if you don't make that in tips, right?
Yes, that really happens though. So we make minimum wage if we were to make that.
If you didn't get tips to cover from that to minimum.
Yes.
So then how does tipping out work? So a
we-
lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we take 3% of our sales, and that's split amongst the buzzers and the hosts. So if the table tips you and doesn't tip you anything at all, then that'll come out of our personal money. Does that make sense?
so if it was like the whole night was like $1,000 worth of
Yeah.
food sold,
Yes.
you have to pay 3% of that
Yes.
out of your tips.
Yes. Honestly, all restaurants are like
And
that.
then-
So technically, say y'all's chow was like $100,
Yeah.
and y'all tip me $0, then $3 of that would come out of my money.
So if we don't, so we shouldn't tip you anything. Is what you're
I
saying.
mean, I would pay to serve y'all, but I mean, y'all were fun, so it would be okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all.
So I think this explains why people are so obsessed with tipping. We've seen videos of customers sometimes being aggressively asked for tipping and those kind of videos, but this kind of explains it. And it seems also on the American side, they are tired of these ridiculous tips and they have to say this about them.
So I'm not tipping anymore. I'm done. I'm out. Used to be you would give a tip if somebody gave exceptional service. When was the last time you got exceptional service anywhere? And it's just expected. They bring you the bill at the end and they're like, here, just fill this out.
And you're pointing
20%,
to
25%. No, you did your job.
That's so
They made food. You carried it to my table.
right.
You got me a Diet Coke. Thank you. That was your job. You don't get 25% because you did your job. And I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not. If you own a restaurant, just tell me what it costs. I don't want people to go hungry. What does it cost for me to get my food, and also so that the wait staff doesn't have to join the cartel, do some Lord of the Flies, Oliver Twist? Like, I want people to be taken care of. Just tell me what it costs.
And if you don't tip them, they'll get mad at you for them doing just their job.
And I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever experienced a random wild interaction with a waiter like this who wants you to tip very badly?
I recently went to this restaurant. We go every year for my friend's birthday, and then she reciprocates for my birthday. And we sat down, we ate. The waitress was great. And when the check came, I had cash on me, but not enough to leave the tip in cash. So I put money on the check as tip, and then I left the cash on the table. But I hadn't yet put the money on the table when the waitress came to grab the check. About 5 minutes later, she comes over and she's like, was my service not good? And I was like, excuse me? She's like, was there something wrong with my service? And I'm like, not that I can recall. Why? She didn't say anything, but you could tell that she had something to say about, I think it was a $15 tip that I had left on the receipt. And then I left another 10 on the table, but she hadn't seen it because I hadn't put it on the table yet. So I'm like, no, your service was fine. She's like, oh, I guess I'm just asking. And then she walks away. And something like that made me not want to leave the extra $10 on the table. I see a lot of posts where people say, if you can't afford to leave a tip, don't go out to eat. What? Today is hard enough. These days, everything is hard. So telling people not to go to a restaurant to enjoy themselves with their family just because restaurants are requiring us to pay the salaries of their employees, that's not a fair statement to make.
Comment if you've ever had something like that happen to you, but this is actually crazy. Most restaurants I've been to, they don't even request for a tip. So this is an American culture type of thing. There are some people who agree with it and some people who do not, and when you go to another country, you must contribute to their cultures to a degree, you know. So I don't have a problem with tipping, but 25%, I'm not going to tip 25%. Even though your service was great, I'm going to give you 10% because I come from a place where we don't tip, so I don't understand it. You know, I'm just supporting your culture, nothing more. But let me know, guys, subscribe to the channel and let me know if you've ever had an interaction like this. That brings us to the end of the video, and if you want to see more videos like this, a sub to the channel will be fantastic.
I'm done. I no longer have any connection to this world. I'm gonna go home and kill myself. Goodbye, friends.